Correct. And there we go. For everyone now tuning in on stream, YouTube, and Twitch, you should now be getting this feed, so my apologies for the delay. And with that, let's dive into plays. I'm going to invite a couple more people up here, but as always, if you'd like to come up and speak, just hit the little raise your hand button, and please be patient, because sometimes it does take a second to invite you up.
Good morning, WallStreetBets. It's been a minute. I have gone ahead. I've gone out of my forward position and match group position. Those went ahead, lost me about 50%. Moving on from that, I'm going to go ahead and start selling some cash secured puts on Canopy Growth. Basically, they're at about $1.10 right now. They were dancing around the dollar line last week. I'm going to be selling weeklies, and then once those start to slow down, start selling monthlies. The weeklies are currently trading at a 2% premium, so it's pretty good. That is my play for the week. Wish you guys good luck in your trade.
Thanks, Waffles, for sharing.
Very nice.
Lebowski, do you have any interesting earnings plays coming up?
Be watching Ree eagerly on Tuesday there.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one. I think they report at 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and then the conference call from their CEO is at 8:30 Eastern.
I have 1,000 shares ready for their inevitable announcement of a 10-to-1 reverse split.
No, it's actually not going to happen. They got a 180-day extension from NASDAQ. They recently added some directors to their board to comply with NASDAQ requirements, and that gave them an extension till November to get back above $1.
Nice. I guess I'll just keep holding my 1,000 shares.
Costco's got earnings on the 25th, as well as Bank of Nova Scotia on the 24th. Nvidia on the 24th. Zim on the 22nd today. That'll be interesting.
Doesn't Zoom have earnings today after hours?
Who?
Zoom, ZM.
Not sure about them, but Zim, ZIM, does have earnings after hours.
Did anybody hear about Pac West selling their real estate loans?
Yeah, $2 billion worth of loans, I guess. I'm thinking that's to shore up their reserve requirements from all the deposits that have fled.
Right, but are they selling them at a loss, I imagine? Because the reason they're selling is for liquidity purposes, so otherwise they would just keep them, so it would be a loss.
Right. But Pac West is up this morning, though. Looks like it's trying to open at 620-ish. Maybe a little pump before the dump.
So if they're selling these loans over to, I think, Kennedy Wilson Holdings, ticker symbol KW, then this company that's acquiring them is just going to hold these assets that are free falling in value. Because these are so many, it's construction loans they're acquiring, to be specific.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I've also been following New York Community Bank. They filed a similar I think the 8K doing similar activity as well. Sorry, I was driving and somebody just pulled up and jumped. Wheel flew off.
Well, you okay?
It's very random. It didn't affect me, but it was like right now. Yeah, but NYCB, New York Community Bank, they posted for the weekend, 5 or 6 in total. One of them was an 8K, which was similar to PacWest's 8K, I believe, where they're selling off their assets. I'll have to double check if it's the CRE construction loans, but I know PacWest definitely off like 2 or something. Human Genome was saying earlier. I'm thinking it's eventually going to be puts on them. Maybe it's going to pump a little, and then it's like a bull trap, and then it dumps. And then
do you know who's back holding those that they're selling to?
Do you own it? AP?
Which, Pac West? No, I don't know.
Calls and puts for that.
I'm looking at picking up some deep out of the money VIX calls. Probably UVIX. UVIXy? UVIX. Anyway, on the very off chance that the U.S. doesn't get its shit together and defaults. You know, I'm not going to put a lot of money behind this bet because chances are it's going to go to zero. And I hope it goes to zero, firstly. Like, let me be clear.
Well, what would be the consequences if they didn't raise the debt ceiling?
Well, it would be pretty disastrous. It's not necessarily the debt ceiling that's the problem. It's the fact that it would lead to a default on our sovereign debt. Now, the news is saying it's never happened before in history. That's partially true, but the U.S. has done a partial default on its sovereign debt at 3 different times over the course of history. The first being right after the Revolutionary War. We actually partially defaulted on some of our bonds from individual colonies to the nation of France. Anyway, the point is that we do have some historical precedents, but it would be disastrous in one word if I had to describe it.
One of them would technically be if anybody hear about T-bills or any bonds, technically they wouldn't be paid out. I think one time in history, T-bills weren't paid for 3 weeks and then it resumed. But yeah, but again, I think Janet Yellen said even if we do go on default, they'll still be able to pay T-bills and other forms of investments. But I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
Yeah, that would be the partial default scenario that I'm talking about, right? Where
Yeah.
maybe we just look at some of our creditors and say, you know what, sorry, you're not going to get as much money as you thought. But even a partial default would be disastrous for U.S. credit and U.S. credit market, and globally. I mean, it would have a global effect. So anyway, my hedge on the off chance that occurs is calls on UVXY, puts on the US dollar through UUP, and on the off chance that occurs, at least I'll have enough money to order a pizza before I have to start eating Depression-era meals, right? That's really what I'm getting at.
I heard that
Yeah.
Domino's has financing now, so if you need it, that's available.
Yeah, you gotta finance that $20 pizza, man.
Weren't you saying last week, Skull, that UVXC calls was like throwing away money?
Yeah, let's roll back the tape.
It's on YouTube. I'm sure we can find it.
I wasn't certain if anyone's really looked into the last month of the bond offerings on the fixed income market for a lot of these banks. But it might be worthwhile for some of you all who are playing them just to consider.
Any bank in specifically for those bond offerings? Because
Lots.
they range.
Over 14,000 actually, in fact. So I couldn't even pick up for you. However, what I would say is one of two things: either use it as a traditional fixed income product, or you could also maybe garner through some supposition or conjecture that they were doing it because they were raising capital for something upcoming that they thought was going to be decent or not. I mean, there's tons of ways to do it. I just thought I'd throw it out there for you all. It's the corporate papers, pretty easy to search through most of your brokerages, but it definitely might be worth it just to also take into account, especially if you're worried about default. And Scald, what you were saying about default, I still think that we're looking a year and a half out for a muni default actually, which puts second quarter or third quarter next year really nice on your VIX by my book. But just saying.
You're talking about municipal bond defaults?
I'm
Is that what
talking
you're
about
saying? Muni?
I'm talking about municipalities defaulting because of a snowball, basically, from what will go on with the consumer crunch after the real estate issues with banking, coming up to play next. If we follow what's going on in Europe right now, I don't know if anybody's following Sweden and what is just going on there, as well as Germany is maybe speaking.
Wait, what's going on with Sweden?
Sweden has had a 3-year miniature housing crisis with leasing. However, that's spilling over now to the other sector, to actually purchases, as well as for residential real estate. And that's going to affect their banking right now. I mean, this is the snowball that's going to go throughout a lot of Europe, to be honest. That being said, the story is very interesting to kind of follow with what some of the catalysts were that expedited the residential leasing issues. There was a huge scam that was going on. I'm not going to say more than that, but it was a lot of coverage in it. New York Times maybe 3 weeks ago is worth the look. That's kind of funny. But the municipal, what I was talking about was eventually a tax rolls having to be sold off, basically, for properties when cities that are going broke, that are maybe major, or at least 200,000 people plus need to make some money because they're not seeing enough taxpayers paying in after we see the debt defaults on credit by individuals, which will be after a little banking issue going in to small businesses, which will be after what you all were talking earlier about, Russell. I mean, this is a type thing, but just long term, I was just supporting your big stance. That's all.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There is a smaller, poorer city here, Dayton, Ohio, that for the first time in 6 years, they put this website back up again, where basically for $500 you can bid on a house, and then they go out and try to find the owner. If they can't find the owner, you pay the back municipal taxes, which are normally a couple grand, and then they just give you the house. And so, if that's what municipalities are starting to do, they're starting to feel the crunch, right? I think your timeline, you were saying, what, 3/4 out for the muni bonds?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But tax rolls are 3 years for most states for the default, and you still have to deal with cloud title for anybody who actually wants to do that, which can be an issue for clear ownership. However, that being said, there's indicators of early presence in some major cities. When you look at transit structures, especially if your public transit starts failing, if you see less routes, if you see night times cut off, things of that nature. If you see, for instance, water supply issues and other municipal utility issues, which we're seeing in a lot of places. The early things are what we saw about 10 years ago, basically when I watched one state default, was the stoppage or the when there's a flip to tourism from what wasn't there before, when you go harder into casinos and into things of that nature, when the tax incentives switch off of independent and local businesses to purely corporations for luring them there. I mean, there's always signifiers of it. Oh, retirement community incentivization is a big one too. Alabama, golf.
The downside, of course, is if the IRS has a lien against the property. That's the only thing that's superior to those state-level tax liens. Or senior, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the cloud title services is actually a really good move for anybody looking for a small business, by the way.
Good morning, Xenophobia.
Good morning, Hardy. We pivoted from the U.S. debt default to talking about muni bond defaults. And welcome.
I don't really have too much exciting. Plays are up on half on a double. Waiting to see if GameStop will announce their formally announce the earnings call date either today or tomorrow, like they did last year.
And everyone's favorite EV company earnings call tomorrow at 8:30. You can register online to listen in live. Usually the stock will pump a little after that, and then it'll drop. So I'm going to take profit on the 1,500 shares I got, and then possibly re-enter once it dips.
Can we talk about Zoom? Zoom's earnings coming up after market today, right? So can we talk about it?
What would you like to cover?
Well, I'm just trying to get a handle on the amount of pressure for return to office. If you look at the macro trends on it, the number of people returning to the office has continued to increase, which I personally won't do. I'm going to work remote for the rest of my life, but you can deal with it. But, you know, return to office is a big thing affecting the economy right now. My supposition would be, as these companies do return to office, their need for Zoom is less. So I would assume it's more downsies on this earning report, but maybe it's been priced in because that has been the macro trend for the last 6 or so months. So I'm just trying to figure out which way to play it. I think Zoom is going to go down, though, is sort of where I see it going.
Just to provide a counterpoint, I feel like no matter if you're at home or in the office, people are still using teleconferencing for meetings.
Scald, if you want some confirmation bias, Zoom is currently at both delta neutral and gamma max. It also has a history of not following either.
I would also say that use Microsoft Teams for that kind of a workplace environment and security. So that'll be another reason why Zoom would go down. Competitor.
Wall of Junk had a question about the Russell Index. Part of the trouble is we don't necessarily know which companies will join the index. There is a published rule set, but it's not always followed as published, which implies there's a layer of discretion being added. If you want to potentially buy companies that are going to be added to the index, which were never there before, you just need to sort by the top 3,000 market caps. Anything that is in that list of the top 3,000 market cap companies that is not there last year will be added, and odds are they've already pumped a little bit because that was announced last month.
Very interesting.
Also, with VIX being as low as it is, I've been looking to buy some leaps. Or leap straddles or leap strangles. I haven't really settled on a specific ticker yet.
So you're saying the recession is canceled?
Oh, as Hendricks taught me, it's recession.
Recession. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting article on WallStreetBets over the weekend about freight, specifically truck freight. It's an interesting indicator, but you got to take all these indicators with a grain of salt. One could be a supply glut, right? There's more people into trucking because freight rates hit like all-time highs 18 months ago, right? Also, sometimes these economic indicators, they just don't freaking work. It's one of the reasons that economists have so many of them is that basically none of them individually are foolproof. So you want to have a basket of indicators. And, if a bunch of indicators start popping in one direction, then that could be a better indication, right? That something. But it was an interesting article. Basically, using freight rates, it postulated that in November there would be a recession. If you look at the 6 months offset from freight rate declines to recession.
Interesting. Has anyone applied that to other nations that are close to recession right now, retroactively, like Germany perhaps, which has a lot of rail? Like if you could establish those figures being back tested?
Yeah, I mean this indicator, like speaking like sort of like as an economist, this indicator is actually a pretty decent. Probably yield curve reversion, like yield curves getting in and then reverting back, which normally indicates a imminent recession, right? I would put it on par with that. I mean, it's been used for a long time. Another one I've seen used that is also a good prognostic indicator, as they call it, is storage rates. So as people begin to experience pressure on their housing situation, they go from a big house to a small house or from a small house to an apartment, they will often take their extra stuff and put it into self-storage. So one of the leading indicators of a potential recession is occupancy of self-storage facilities, which is also hitting right now. So it shows that people are having to downsize their living conditions, but they still have enough money where they want to hold on to their stuff, right? So therefore, self-storage rates skyrocket. And this is normally a leading indicator of financial trouble coming down the line.
Excellent, thank you. Do you hold any water with the containers at port, the backup in containers as well for the shipping thing? I know that's a metric for within shipping. I don't know how it affects overall economy though.
Yeah, I don't know much about how those container backups play into the economic data. I would be interesting to see. I just don't know enough about them.
That's awesome though about the other. Thank you, Scott.
As well as SPY has been performing this year, I do want to point out that IPO proceeds, or the IPO money raised through IPO in 2023 is only $6.7 billion versus 7.7 in 2022 and 142 billion in 2021. I get the impression a lot of private companies are standing aside waiting to raise capital only because this environment is not conducive to it.
Out of curiosity, Hardy, does that include those couple early Hong Kong IPOs on the U.S. exchange that were?
Those were not IPOs. Those were tickers that were dormant and then were temporarily inflated in order to prove collateral for some other purpose.
And SPAC performance, I'm assuming, is very low this year in terms of.
Well, that's a different problem. The money's already been raised for the various SPACs. However, they're having a lot of trouble finding private companies willing to go in the deal with them. Invest in yourself such combination. That's the best chance of a good return. Genuinely, because this is, unless the market drops bigly, May is going to be my first down month in a while.
Is anybody follow Singapore or Singapore Air? I guess for something on the.
Are you talking about their 80%? What's it, 8-month bonus payout?
That in the the highest or second highest historic quarter for earnings, but it's just been the last 6 months have been pretty decent uphill for it.
I would argue that's bearish because this is their all-time high, right? How many more quarters of this all-time high airline performance will they get? Or I guess a better question, suppose their aircraft or their load factor is already 98%, implying 2% of seats go unsold every flight. That then implies there's a roughly 3.5 growth opportunity to get 100% seats filled. Does that justify a 2x increase in price? See what I'm saying?
Oh yes. I was under the supposition based on their exchange, just of long-term growth for Singapore. I was just using that as an illustrative thing. It's since 21, it's been pretty decent for a small growth market. I just was wondering if anybody else was into any way on the future on it, kind of. But I do understand completely what you're saying. Yes, thank you.
SQQQ might be cheap enough to sell puts against. Looks like Dell took a dive.
I think the nice part about my long-dated UUP puts is I don't necessarily need anything bad to happen. I just need for there to be enough uncertainty that people think something bad's going to happen, and they will print. and that's all I need. I need the threat, not the reality. I know I was talking on here last week or the week before about my puts that were dated for August. I ended up rolling them into January. There was a couple other people that were already in January strike puts on UUP, so I just joined them.
active radio, consider the amount of time to expiration. These are for June 16. A month ago, those options prices were still for the May 19 expiration, and therefore had far less theta.
Actually, I'd love to hear Hardy. Any thoughts on starting to buy in long on Zion for shares?
Ticker?
I'm sorry.
It's spelled the way it sounds, Zion?
Zion, yes, the
Bank card?
Mormon Regional Bank, ZION.
Do you have any idea if the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ deposits with them?
Yes, the majority of businesses that I'm familiar with, as well as there's an adjacent speculative hedge fund, as well as I believe no control and control fund. A large portion of their businesses, in fact. Latter Day Dweeb could maybe help you out with that a little bit more, but
So, looking at their actually I can share my screen, right? There are not enough people to prevent that. One moment. So this is Zion. This is their history. They very rarely go above Gamma Max, at least in recent history. Back in the 2021 they did. So right now they're approaching Gamma Max, which for me is bearish. The moment they cross up, I'd look to buy puts.
Okay.
Because the last few times that's happened, price came back down.
And if there's like a reset, I guess, for sector banking, or at least for some of that, well, any thoughts on maybe when it stops spiking downwards, or what would you think? Looking back, I guess before.
I wouldn't say spike. I would say more like a slow decline.
It seems to be following a lot of the regionals, but I just personally think it'll recover quicker, I guess.
Got an interesting chart. Like, it's got good earnings per share, nice dividend. Might be an opportunity here.
Let's see it.
No, I'm talking about Zion.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the nature of Zion's investments, but if they have any amount of fixed income securities, they're still fucked with an unrealized loss.
To July, the puts are definitely a little more expensive than the calls.
Yeah, that's the bonds that Zion issued not the deposits, or not the bonds into which the deposits were invested.
Oh no, underneath it is the like the debt to cash ratio on hand, I believe, and some other things.
Correct. That's the debt that they took
Oh,
out against the bank, not against the deposits.
Hey Hardy, I was wondering if you've seen that PacWest and New York Community Bank put out a 8K form. They're selling off their CRE commercial loans. I think PacWest is selling 2.7 billion at a loss for 2.4 billion, and they're both actually pumping them smart. I think it might just be like a trap, and I'm thinking about getting puts on it at the top. What are your thoughts on that?
Who's buying? You'd probably be better off buying calls on them, because they're buying at a substantial discount. And then when the rates come back down, the value of that particular part of their portfolio will appreciate meaningfully.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Does one of the dollar stores have earnings this week?
What was that?
Doesn't one of the dollar stores have earnings this week? Like Dollar Tree or Dollar, I forget which one. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Financial. Anybody got a thesis on that one?
They're saying in the chat it's Dollar Tree and it's on Thursday.
Any sentiment from anybody? I got no clue.
Pretty hard to say. Could go either way.
Morning.
Morning.
How's everybody doing? Besides being fucking bored to death. The lack of plays lately. Tired of this bullshit. Tired of Hardy doing all the work.
You got re-earnings tomorrow morning.
8:30 sharp.
Well, I think the earnings post at 7, and then the conference calls at 8:30. So sometime between 7 and 8:30, we'll know what the deal is.
Ah, interesting. I'm gonna.
Yeah, because last time they when they had the conference call, like the earnings had already posted, but they went over like their guidance and what they expect for like profits by the end of the year. So hopefully we'll know if they actually have more orders coming in, which would be bullish.
I'm definitely bullish, especially long term. I just think it's a huge value play for at least 2 years, maybe a year. By next year or within a year or so, it's going to go up, and then it's just going to keep on growing. I see the potential for them to jump into the defense contracting budget or market, because they're based in Israel. They have EV modular platforms. You can drop an MRAP, like the shaped proof hull on top of it, depending on the material and the weight. It's 4-wheel steering and 4-wheel drive, so that gets in and out of those tight areas in the Middle East and all over the world, And steering ability within its or any kind of even like an off-road thing. I could see somebody getting like a roll cage kit, putting it on there, just having 2 bucket seats and a roll cage on the skateboard. It's just a lot of potential. I think Tesla might jump in the future. Who knows?
They have a former Tesla executive as their COO, so it's pretty interesting too.
True. That's true. I see. Maybe Elon said, buy it in, and then
You might have driven into a cornfield, broke up the last line there.
Sorry, I'm driving. Yeah, he might have do resign or whatever, and then go work for get a little insight.
Yeah,
then the guy will get a raise.
True. Yeah, and somebody else was saying that they should make their vehicles into Mario Karts. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen them? They come in like maybe 3 or 4 different platforms, like, and one of them's really small.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, it kind of resembles a Mario Kart.
And everything is fly-by-wire. There's no like mechanical linkage, and it's the corner unit. I forget exactly what they call it, but it's all in one modular piece, and you can replace the whole unit in less than an hour. So like the maintenance on it is ridiculous. Everything's self-contained. You just take it off, pop on a whole new one.
Yeah, that was why somebody had asked the last time we talked about it, why they would be unique compared to companies like Canoe. I think their ticker's GOEV, and that would like the maintenance is like one of the outliers from what I looked into.
It's just a lot of upside, and it's really cheap now. I'm definitely gonna take profit this time and jump back in. Hopefully it dips, afterwards like it did last time. Last earnings call was pretty predictable, pumped a little and it dipped. But I'm definitely going long on it. It's crazy. I bought, as a joke, $2.50 calls on for 2024 at 8 cents in value in the green, and I gotta sell. Be funny to see if they.
I'll sell you some of those.
You bought some too?
I'll sell you the 250 call.
Do you have covered calls on that, LeBeau?
Not at the moment. It wasn't. Bid ask wasn't enough to make it worth it.
Yeah, it's like, it was like $5 a contract. It's just like and it actually went green several times in the past month or 2. But they're delivering units at the end of the year, but not enough to make it go that high. But next year, going a lot higher, maybe towards that goal, like towards the end of the year.
Yeah, you could always roll it out once they list more contracts for available.
How exactly does that work with the stocks? And I just got an option.
I know on Fidelity, like there's an option when you go into, you have to do it on the browser though, but there's an option to roll it where you just pick a new strike and expiration date.
You're better
Tells
off
me your
rolling it
position
manually because using the roll function at pretty much any broker is an opportunity for them to rape you on the spread.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Also,
So yeah, but essentially it's just selling and rebuying.
okay, nice. Yeah. But the only thing is, there's a huge major problem. They haven't passed their certification for some countries they're going to sell in. And Hino recently, or not recently, but they had a deal like that with an EV truck company to do a thing, and they lost 13 million. They had to pull out because they couldn't pass like hexavalent chromium in it, and I think that's stainless steel, which is odd, but they pulled out and lost money.
Did anyone follow Varel's, the guy who's the re-founder, his previous suspension business, out of curiosity, that he did? Didn't know anything about it? What happened with it?
I haven't heard about that one.
And for all you refacts, he also has another thing going on too, Spectre X, that I dropped in chat as well. But the suspension's no longer. I'm just curious what the deal was.
Cool, thanks.
Dude, I'm just looking at that 277 PE ratio on Amazon. Jesus.
That's bad.
I was just saying, Amazon managed to turn a profitable, high-growth tech company into FedEx. Like, congratulations. You're a logistics company now.
I've never heard
They're a cloud logistics
such a insult in my life before.
Yeah, the cloud was the only thing making the money. Keyword was. And now AWS revenue has started to fall. Big downsies in Amazon's near future.
What's their market cap?
0.1 trillion.
Yeah, it's a $1 trillion company. How big can it grow?
Well, Apple's almost 3 trillion.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of cash on hand, right?
It's not why they're worth almost $3 trillion.
No, but
it won't be long before Amazon starts a bank.
they should do a special dividend or something.
No, that's going to get taxed harder. It's much easier to just do a buyback and then borrow money against the shares that increased in value at using them as collateral, tax-free.
That sounds much better. Why aren't they doing that then?
I don't know. I'm not in charge.
You think the stock is overvalued? They don't want to buy it back at these levels, or?
It could be a better use of cash investing in a new business unit. AI is kind of popular. A lot of AI job listings on Amazon's careers page. Separately, I've been having fun using GPT-3 and 4 to try and quantify the the job skill distribution on companies' career pages, hoping I can get some information that way.
Ah, yes, that's true. The old algorithmic jobs.
What's that?
Oh,
I love
Maggie,
that.
I make OpenAI my bitch.
I'm just so excited. It's like 10 seconds left. I know, me too. The best DOMs are I would say BDSM is ahead of its time. You just gotta know how to command.
And that's the bell! Ring a ding ding!
Back to plays. Thank you, Skull.
No, I mean, market's literally open.
I know.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Thank you. Just to clarify, thank you for clarifying. We got NVIDIA and Semiconductor Week. And Socks fascinating.
Anyone playing semiconductors?
What are you thinking for semiconductors called? Video?
I don't know. I know y'all have a lot of semiconductor plays, right? It's people that just trade Soxel and all that stuff. So I haven't heard from the semi.
Something.
Yeah, I just hadn't heard from the semiconductor crew in a minute, so I wanted to check in with y'all. Those of you that do trade it, what's going on?
Does Intuit do semiconductors at all?
Scald, do you have the ability in the meantime to invite up Free Range? She posted a play in the chat, but I always like to hear her opinion.
You just need to raise her hand.
She said she couldn't talk right now, right after you said that.
Oh, I must have missed that. My bad.
Yeah, no, she said she couldn't talk right now, but yeah, it's an interesting play. It was DKS as a competitor of Walmart for general merchandise. Walmart was up in grocery, right? But their general merchandise was lagging a little bit. If I understand her play right, it would be to buy puts on DKS, right?
Is that Dick's?
Yeah, because they have general merchandise but no grocery.
Maybe.
Yeah, I always
But
like
maybe I'm
her
misunderstanding
plays.
the play.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't get it wrong because I know she puts a lot of research into it. Because somebody was asking about Dollar Tree.
Yes.
And then Dollar General is in Staples along with Walmart and Target. So all of that is, I believe, XLP.
And Dollar General has their own eggs, right? They're the ones that have their own egg.
I think the weird thing about consumer staples is that we're kind of in between the Fed raising rates, expectations of future pauses, and expectations of mild recession. So I think personally I'm not going to be playing consumer staples, but I think that come November it's going to be a very nice sector to be in. So maybe what you'll see is smart money getting into it sooner than you would expect. But I don't think that I'm going to have any sense of when to time that. But if Walmart is expecting, something, or is it the bellwether for the industry, maybe I need to go back and read their transcript from their earnings call.
Is Dick still selling guns?
Oh, by the way, has anybody tried Bard? I want to say puts on Google, because that product is so fucking bad right now.
Yo.
Bard will not compete against GPT-4, I agree, but Google's implementation of lesser AI as part of an ecosystem for their workplace platform is actually quite useful.
I almost want to share my screen. Can I do that and show how bad Bard is?
Sure. As long
right,
as there are fewer than
Hold
300, as long as there are fewer than 300 people, you can share your screen.
Yeah, we're under 300, but Google's up 1.5% right now, and I'm currently up on my Google position by over 20%. Actually, the only profitable position I hold.
Yeah, the gentleman, those puts I bought, got their fucking faces ripped off.
Put you bought on what?
Google.
Did you buy them?
Oh, last week.
Yeah,
Do
Google's
they
been on the
expire?
kick lately.
They expire on June 16th.
You got Meta coming down today with that $2.6 billion lawsuit, so maybe just because tech is so correlated, maybe you're able to get out of the Google puts today, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Down quite a bit already. Should have listened to you. Was it someone else?
If you lost money, it wasn't me. If you made money, it was me.
I just it's like 1 cent, 1 little cent.
Hey, Weeb, glad you could join us. We have a question for you. Yeah, Mo?
What'd I do?
Do you bank with Zion?
I do not. So
Do you know
Zion
people
is a
who bank
region.
with Zion?
Outside of the church, no, because Zion's still a regional bank, so that's specifically within Utah. And then other than that, yeah, I'm many miles away from Utah. And in fact, right now I'm on a train on my way to Munich.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty far from Utah. In that case, whoever was talking about Zion earlier, I'm affirming my puts. Or my put stance. I don't intend to play puts against Zion specifically, but I am definitely bearish on them.
But I mean, as far as I know, regionally, it's definitely, I feel like, propped up by the Latter-day Saint Church. So I don't see it failing anytime soon, if that's what you're asking.
Alright, I'm gonna try a very quick BARD demonstration, so I'm gonna mute myself. Basically, I'm gonna try and get it to open a PDF, and what I expect to happen is gonna be that it won't be able to understand what PDF I'm looking at.
Is it working?
So now you have to ask the audience if we can see your screen yet for the next 5 minutes, like every other.
So,
video
the
conference
gentlemen,
call.
are you sharing your screen or a window?
Sharing a window, I think.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know if anyone else can see it. Doesn't look like
I
it.
see spinning balls.
Yeah, the spinner's up.
Ranger, you should probably get your eyes checked.
Either that or he needs to get out of that club. And I hate to say it, but it looks like those Google puts you bought are not going to do good anytime soon. Google's only gone up, now up 2% today.
Yep. Always inverse yourself.
Yeah, wasn't there demonstration day and all that on the back of earnings? Wasn't that pretty strong?
Yeah, well, it went from it's like $100 and something, and it went to like 115, and now it's like what, 125? So, like, yeah, it was $104 a couple weeks ago. Well, the market makers will go with the trend, take it as far as they can.
Does anyone know what caused Nintendo? Oh, I just answered my own question. I'm an idiot. They just released. Yeah, second rating's up again. That's why it's going up right now.
I posted a screenshot of the issue. Basically, if you ask it what is the name of the paper and give it a link to a PDF, it'll get it wrong. And just for reference, I'll add the actual link so you can see what the paper is supposed to say. So literally you have to like prompt it to open PDF and then the link to get it to even like read it correctly. So little stuff like that is not going to be intuitive to people unless they play around with it for a long time. And it's something simple like that that they didn't test and released. Makes me feel like, okay, Microsoft is going to eat your lunch for a while if this is what you're putting out for the public to play with.
Guys, can you hear me?
No. Can you move closer to the microphone, please?
Yes. So, I'm just gonna start speaking louder. Okay. So, the gentleman who just mentioned about Bard, I'm wondering if whether the link or the PDF file is a research article. Because if it is, then a lot of those research articles, Bard cannot read those articles at this point.
Exactly. And so the whole issue is that it thinks, basically, based on a link structure, it'll say, this is a link structure which has an author. The author wrote a paper. This is the paper. It doesn't say, there's a big-ass title at the top of this page. Maybe I should figure out what it says.
Well, my experience.
College students trying to get a AI to write an essay for them.
I think Bard is still on the stage where it cannot really go through a lot of these restricted links, and I think that is the case with GPT as well. If you feed the same link to GPT, only if you have plugins installed, like Ask Your PDF, only then you'll be able to get it read from that AI tool. Otherwise, it's going to be the same problem in either of the models.
I found a couple workarounds. I can DM you how to do it with research papers.
Alright, cool. But yeah, I agree with what Hari said that it's probably more about their integration in their in the Google app rather than this text interface that people are so interested about, which is causing the stocks to go up.
How does ChatGPT in that work with like other Microsoft programs? Can you use it to put stuff in PowerPoints or Word documents? Or is that just strictly, what is it all being used for right now?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. What was it again?
Well, because people are talking about ChatGPT with Microsoft, so is it integrated into other things where you can have it open stuff or put stuff into like a Word document or a PowerPoint slide, or is it primarily used elsewhere and not really well integrated with other Microsoft services?
I think it's going to be the same thing for Microsoft. They're going to go ahead and do that integration with their products. But at this point, what I've tried with Bard is, if you ask him to make, let's say, write a paragraph about something, and you can ask it to transport it directly to a Google Sheet. And I don't see why Microsoft cannot do that with their own products, because I believe the Word and PowerPoint and Excel is also online as well, which you can share with the team members and do the changes. So yeah, I mean the integration is gonna happen from a I guess productivity standpoint, in my opinion.
I'm bullish on Adobe. I went to cancel my Adobe subscription, and then they billed me again. And then I found out that Adobe had been double billing me for their suite of products for the last 2 calendar years. So bullish. I mean, if they're double billing me, hard to say who else they're double billing. It's nuts.
I bought some more Zim. $15.
Gentlemen, anybody playing Costco for the earnings? Alright, I'll take that as a no.
Anybody looking at Disney?
I am right now, actually. Funny you say that.
Flip
What are you
below
thinking?
$90.
Yeah. My cost average on Disney is 160 a share.
Really? Holy
Yeah. Whoops. Whoopsies.
Yeah, I thought I was bad at 118.
They can't all be winners. Sometimes I got losers.
Yeah.
Happens. But Jesus. Yeah.
When would you
Yeah.
decide to tax loss harvest that and roll into something different?
Well, on this particular, I would have already tax loss harvested it, but this particular thing I have a very large time horizon on. I actually bought these for my kid and actually gave them to my child. So the time horizon is at least 18 years. Right? Well, 16 years. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, yeah, I'd already be taking the L.
I mean, with the time horizon that long, would it make sense to tax loss harvest it anyway and then get back in 30 days or whatever?
Right? Because, right, just and get back in and then, just ride those dividends for decades, right?
Dividends? What dividends?
Well, they had dividends for a while. Hopeful they'll come back.
Still calls on it. They're not terrible premiums. right back up now.
So I've been pretty successfully playing a couple of the Chinese e-commerce internet stocks. They have these really violent down days, and you can sell puts and then scalp them for a pretty tidy profit. I think I got like 32% this morning, exiting out of a few short put JD contracts pretty deep in the money, and was still able to get 30% and like basically effectively 6 hours of trading.
Yeah, so I can't read my username. It looks like I said that ASO was outperforming DIX last time I looked. I just looked again. It's still the case. So if I go on like the day chart, have a look back of like a year, right? Academy Sports is still outperforming DIX Sporting Goods. If you go back, if you zoom out even farther, the outperformance of Academy Sports over DIX Sporting Goods becomes very, very clear. Let me see how far back I'm going now. Yeah, if you're looking back from when they were both listed in September of 2020, if you look from that point to now, here, I'll just share my screen. So if you look back, Academy Sports is on the top, DIX Sporting Goods is on the bottom. So if you look back over the course of the last 3 years, you can see that Academy Sports is pretty heavily outperforming DIX Sporting Goods as far as just total return goes, right? If we're talking on a percentage basis. Free Range Human brings up that ASO sells guns, DIX Sporting Goods does not. I remember when they made that decision. That's probably hurt their overall sales. But you know, if you look more recently, it's become more narrow. I think I was looking at the day. So now we're looking back to October of 2022. Still, you see Academy Sports is still slightly outperforming DIX Sporting Goods, which is this orange line here. And if we just look over the last few trading days, we see that DIX Sporting Goods recently, very recently, started to outperform, right? But again, what caused this sell-off in ASO? There was a similar sell-off in DIX Sporting Goods at the same time, but that had to have been earnings. That was probably last quarter's earnings. FL. What's that ticker? FL. Oh, Foot Locker. Yeah. There were some people that had puts on Foot Locker because their deal with Nike was basically their deal with Nike ended a year ago, I think it was. So Nike stopped sending their custom shoes to Foot Locker. And once they ran out of all their inventory, Foot Locker just fell off a freaking cliff. I mean, it was brutal. think it was down like 22% or something like that after earnings. It was absolute dumpster fire for Foot Locker. And you know, we had a guy on here talk about it. He was actually a shoe reseller from New York City, and he came in and he was like, puts on Foot Locker. And this is why you should always listen to somebody that has industry knowledge, because like,
hey,
they know what they're doing. When someone who works in an industry tells you something, pay attention. Even if it's reselling shoes, right? They know what they're talking about, and they know what they know their domain, right? So they have expert knowledge. Always worth giving them a listen. Domain knowledge, that's right, gentlemen. What is Sleeping Leopard on about? What's going on here? Cotton. What? Some sort of commodity thing here. Oh, we're looking at a comparison in the top left corner. That is a comparison of Academy Sports versus Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's Sporting Goods is the orange line. Academy Sports is the actual bar chart. If we look out on a day chart, we can see that Academy Sports is outperforming Dick's Sporting Goods. And if we look back even farther in the stock's history, we see that Academy Sports has routinely outperformed Dick's Sporting Goods since its listing in 2020. However, over the last few days, we see that that's not the case. So we're looking at ASO versus... I don't know what's going on with this. Every time I reboot my trading view, the RSI down here gets all messed up. And I have to reset it manually every single time. So just ignore that, because it's garbage. It actually is not an accurate RSI at all. It's just not good. So ignore that. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Free Range Human... Is Free Range Human still in the chat? Let's see if maybe... Do you have any speculation, Free Range Human, as to why Academy Sports and Dick's would have recently flipped? Academy Sports was outperforming Dick's Sporting Goods up until very recently. But at some point in the last basically 3 weeks, that has changed. One of the ideas that was thrown out was that it might be related to shoes. Oh, what is this? Do you have like a quantum computing? Nibbler is posting quantum computing stocks, it looks like. They're all pumping today, bigly. Probably on the news that, yeah, I don't know what would have caused it either, Free Range. Probably on the news that IBM is going to be working on running a quantum computer, right? 100,000 quid-bit quantum computer they're working on developing right now. It's in the news.
So I think this whole ASO Dix comparison came up in with respect to like Walmart and saying that their durables would be more challenged than the grocery side. But wouldn't something like Best Buy be a better option there? I mean, I think there's a little more regularity to sports sales than electronics. If I were going after, like, basically, what's the weakest part of Walmart right now, right? If that is the diversified consumer kind of purchase destination, what's like the weakest department there right now? I guess is probably electronics.
I should know that Best Buy is double BUI.
Yeah, Best Buy chart looks like that.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Here, let me get like a.
Try shorting.
Let me do it from like the beginning of this year. 1 second. Jeez, I should buy TradingView. I only really use it when I'm streaming on here. Yeah, Best Buy's chart looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I tried shorting them last year, but no one told me that the recession.
No one told you the recession.
So I lost out pretty badly.
Yeah, this recession just keeps getting kicked farther down the road. You know, when it's time to pay the piper, I'm sure we'll pay for that eventually.
Well, to me, like Best Buy's outlook, even for the rest of the year, looks supremely challenged because, like, there's already been really good sales on TVs and OLEDs. You know, that might be an upgrade path for some, but I think it's still at a price point that's a bit difficult for the people that didn't already have the money to buy them. That is to say, like, the rich people already did the upgrades, and the poor people can't afford those. You look at like consumer like PC parts and stuff, and I mean, you're getting good prices on, you know, sales of solid state drives and like CPUs and whatever, but like the video cards have stayed stubbornly high. I don't think a lot of people are running into Best Buy to grab, you know, a new 4070 or something. So I just don't see a ton of like growth potential or, you know, strong sales. Probably tough comps even from last year with Best Buy. I think they'd be challenged through the rest of the year even.
Ionic is pumping like crazy. Let's check out a 5-minute chart. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Volume. Starting to fade. So Nibbler, I mean, it's literally just on the news that quantum computing is going to be a real thing. That's literally why Ionic is pumping. There's got to be more to it than that, right? Is there a news story? Let's see. Let's see. Amazon adds quantum computing system. Ionic shares hit 52-week high after Amazon adds quantum computing system. Ionic shares rose after the company said its ARIA system was available for bracket Amazon Web Services. Well, so yeah, it's apparently you can now rent their quantum computer through AWS. Pretty dope. Watch out, cryptocurrencies. Quantum computing is going to crack your cryptography. Ionic's going up more. Another leg up. So if we were looking at day trading Ionic, if we had to trade this right now, one second here. So if we had to trade Ionic, right? Which is currently trading at 998 and heading downward. If we look here, we're looking at likely a lot more downward motion in the near term on Ionic before it finds the support. These are key support and resistance levels are over here, right? On the left. Here's turning points, right? And so during the day of trading, you're going to see these different numbers pop up. So right now it's at 990, right? So well, it's probably going to keep posting red candles until it touches this 977. Now, this is based on yesterday's technical data, right? This cheat sheet here of resistance and support levels. And if you guys are interested in this, you can get it for free at Bar Chart. Then come over here to Trader's Cheat Sheet, and it will show you on the left all the support and resistance levels. On the right, all the key pivot points for a stock, right? And this can be a very useful tool to have open when you're day trading a certain asset. So we got it rebounding here. So I think probably over the next over the next 15 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if Ionic ends up testing this 977 number. We're currently at $10. So it's got to post a few more red candles. Or it could just be a truly transformative event for Ionic, in which case all of this data, which if you look, we're already way above pretty much everything that has to do with this stock, in which case it's just going to keep pumping. It's completely irrational. It's just like a meme at this point. And then there's no really need to do technical analysis. It's not going to help you. You can put your crayons away. But let's see here. Oh, explosion near the Pentagon. Desmond Miles posted this. Let's see what's going on with this breaking news. Desmond, I'm not finding any news about this other than "14 hours ago." Desmond, you got a source for that? Because I'm not finding anything on the news wire. Just somebody on Twitter. Got it. Joe Wales posted about it. We'll come back to Ionic here in a little bit. We got a little bit of time. My prediction on Ionic is you see that overall this momentum is starting to fade a little bit. Is that it'll see downsies to that 977 region down to about here. Down to about here at some point in the next 15 or so minutes. See if that's true. And let's look at Raytheon. Let's see what they have to say about the Pentagon stock. Whoa, okay, so looking at Raytheon, about 5 minutes after the news broke about the explosion near the Pentagon, Raytheon posted this green candle, and then it kept going. Let's check out Lockheed Martin, see what they have to say.
Did you say explosion near the Pentagon?
That's correct. There was an explosion near the Pentagon reported at 10:03, roughly 14 minutes ago. It's been reported by, there's sources in there. There's also there's sources in the chat. Desmond Miles Damp brought it to our attention. There's also Unusual Wells is posting about it as well. And it looks like the market's pricing this in, so it must be real news. Because both Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, within 5 minutes of this being announced, had giant green candles relative to what they've been trading at, right? Just bam. They're both continuing upward. Let's add Raytheon to the, we'll watch both of them at once. RTX, yeah. Oh yeah, they're moving.
Hey, Goldie.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. I just asked you, have you ever downloaded all your info off of Twitter before?
No.
I just tried to do it twice, and I keep forgetting that, I keep missing the date because they give it to you for 2 or 3 days, and then, it expires, right? So I keep having to reapply for it. They probably think I'm fucking nuts. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they got on you, right? Fuck us. That looks like a gas station. Because that's what happened over at my girlfriend's on the weekend. The gas station went up in flames.
Yeah, it could be like a truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got their own pumps there, right? Could be a truck too. God only knows. You know how you see those candles? They know those candles are coming too. Anything that's around there. I thought they had good security after that riot.
Yeah, that's why it could just be a hazardous vehicle turnover or something like that. But you would think that if they were carrying, hazardous cargo, that they'd be going right around, right?
Yeah,
they wouldn't be going through.
They don't. Yeah, they don't usually. I don't know where that is exactly. Somebody got a good picture of it. What's that other symbol I seen this morning? GHL, I think. Wait, no, is it GHL? It looked like one of the banks. It was popping this morning. It's up like 50%. Or no, it was up 100%, I think. Morning almost. I'm not really liking any of the fuckers. I'm not liking any of the banks right now. So, wow. I do like Key West, though. You like any?
What?
Do you like any of the banks at all?
Right now?
Yeah.
No.
No, I know you don't, but I just want to throw that
All
out
right.
there. I don't like any of the Canadian banks right now. You should just heard them on. You should have heard Friday's report. Fuck, they're
If you put
they're doing quantitative easing again.
if you put a gun to my head and was like, "Hey, you have to trade a regional bank right now, Scald," I would direct you at Hancock Whitney.
Okay.
I mean, if you were like, you have to trade a bank, like you have to trade a regional bank right now, but like Hancock Whitney is the most boring bank ever. They haven't done anything interesting in like since they were founded, which is probably like 100 years ago or something stupid. They were trading at like $50 a share. During the banking crisis recently, they dipped down to $30 a share. That being said, there's no real reason for them to be down there. I could see them recovering with the rest of the banking sector back up towards that $50 a share price. It just never happened, right? Because again, they're the most boring bank on earth. Which could be good during a banking crisis. It might be good for them to be the most boring bank on earth, right?
What's their dividend? Even though I wouldn't be playing it like that anyways.
I don't know. Let's take a look. Yeah, the ticker is HWC.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Huntington's also a pretty boring bank, but they have, I think at this point, like a 6% yield. And they've got, they're located in Columbus, which is where the new Intel facility is coming. So
Huntington, absolutely. Fifth Third is another regional bank here in the Midwest that's looking okay-ish. Huntington looks better than Fifth Third, though. If you look at their balance sheets,
yeah,
like I would pick Huntington over Fifth Third if I had to choose between the two.
I like Fifth Third because of the regional diversification. They're spread out more than Huntington is, and Huntington's exposed to subprime a little bit with their auto lending, and they're the largest small business lender in the country as well. So I'm kind of bearish on all that stuff, but I like Huntington. Well, I just like Fifth Third a little bit more for those reasons.
Yeah.
What's the weather like there today?
What was that?
What's the weather like there today?
Where?
Where you are?
I'm in Florida. It's hot as fuck.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay, should I say, how's the weather where you are, Skull?
What? Weather where I am? Super nice. Windows are open.
Yeah.
Times are good.
In here for the first time today. Like 2 weeks.
So look at this pump. Look at both Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. They just keep pumping. Look at this. Look at this market react to news. Even though the photo is fake, just look at it go. Right? It turned it around. Scalping Raytheon as we speak. Very nice.
I don't know, man. What time was that? Because I had a couple of my stocks also a little reversal. And I'm definitely not against.
It was 10-10 when they started to move around.
Yeah, I caught it bouncing a lot of my stuff at 10-10. I'm in Brazil regional bank. And it's Chinese internet. Definitely not defense.
I have returned, sorry. Let me see here.
Anybody make any plays on Google? When it reached the top of its pump this morning.
Google puts?
I feel like something similar happened on Friday. I remember buying a put, selling it same day, and just ripping like 15% or something like that. It kind of pumped up in the morning and then fell off. And actually, if I had held it through the end of the day, I would have maxed out my profit. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be hanging in whenever it is strong in the morning.
you're changing your name. Ryler. Sneaky panda.
So after looking into the image a little bit farther and looking into the actual image composition and the metadata and things like that, I think it is very possible that this image is AI generated. If not, it just happens to be a very, very well composed picture. Like an ideal picture. But it's also, you know, possibly AI generated. However, the defense stocks don't seem to care. They're pumping. It pump.
Have you taken a look at Camping World lately?
What?
Camping World.
No.
You'd be very interested to take a look at them. I think over the summer here we're going to see quite an increase in people going camping and renting their vehicles and stuff like that. They actually pay great dividends, almost 10%. Worth a look.
With what money?
Well, with what money?
Yeah, that's a great question. With what money?
With what money? Grandma and Grandpa's did.
So we're done
Credit
here.
card works well. Yeah.
We're now going to look at Camping World.
CW8.
I have earnings per share.
%20 over the past month, so apparently I'm an idiot.
Well, I'll just put it this way. What money? I have to ask myself that when I go down to Vancouver and see the ships coming in, and they're fucking so fucking loaded. It's unbelievable. Everybody going to Alaska and wherever else.
Oh yeah.
Which is all Carnival.
What caused this scandal?
The retiring boomers.
May 23rd, was that earnings? That was earnings. Jeez. Look at it go. It pumpa.
Wow, it is actually. Eh? Fuck, I was looking at it back. Yeesh. What? Back to the 24th there. 19. Holy shit, eh? Just holding that to get to the dividend. Sheesh.
Yeah.
One of those ones that didn't pop up on my radar. Well, it was on my radar, it just didn't pop up on my screener right away. Usually that would have hit my whatever price I had there, because I was looking at it back in February. Yeah. 10th of February I was looking at it. Sheesh. Yeah, but they're talking the banks are going to be getting a big hit here in Canada, and they're all reporting this week, so we'll be able to see what's going on there.
So, gentlemen, what happens in that case? So the government shutdown happens, park rangers get let go, then what happens? Do they just like close the parks, or do they sort of Lord of the Flies it and just let people go in there with no help? How do they handle it?
Can't go in.
Oh, you can't go in?
No.
Yeah, last time they closed them down so you couldn't go.
That
Yellowstone, all of them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Lockstar, the banks are probably taking a big hit on their mortgage books, eh?
Yeah, it is dire here. It's getting, people are extending their 25s to 40s now.
Ugh, 40-year mortgage.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking bad. Like, I'm fortunate here, right? Like, you know, I got my own place, but you guys could buy.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are crazy. Not you guys, but
No, I'm in Canada here. I got a mortgage, but I'm not.
yeah, it sounds
Then
like
again.
you know. Sounds like you know what you're doing, right? There's half these people. I'm in Vancouver, right? So it's like half these people don't even know what, you know, what they're doing. I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, the parents know what they're doing, lending them the money that they need to top it off, and then, you know, you're struggling, and then you get a bad renter. You know, I'm lucky I got a good one here.
I'm waiting at least a year before jumping on anything.
I think you're smart if you do that. The prices have rebounded, but they haven't rebounded totally. Let's just put it this way. My mom back in February, I was like, yeah, you know, if my sister's gonna buy, then, you know, why don't you just get what's one with her, and then you don't have to put up with strata and all that shit. Then it was worth $470 back then. She was unhappy with that price. She just sold it a month ago or less for $570. That's how much it dramatically went up.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I was like blown away.
I don't know. My neighbor's house just sold, and they had trouble finding people to get financing, and then the one guy just stepped in and bought it. He was like divorced or whatever. I guess he had the money, so.
Yeah, if you can find, it's mostly you're gonna find people that's cash. You know, most of the guys that I'm talking with, they're saying people are just coming in with cash.
Yeah.
And I know mine will sell right away because I'm getting the fuck out of here. Can't handle it here.
Well, you gotta
anymore.
go somewhere else, though. You gotta buy it.
I got another place. I
Market.
bought back in. I got another place. I bought
Okay.
it in 08, so I'm good on that. My buddy won't even rent the downstairs out because he hates fucking tenants so much.
Well, it was going up enough to cover the costs without even renting, but now it's not.
Right. But like we're all basing that on that. It's like, you know, I got a new tenant there just back in October, and the old tenant used to pay $1,400, and now the new one pays $1,800. I mean, I'll give her all the amenities and everything like that with this place, and this is cheap. I mean, I could rent. I got a three bedroom downstairs. I could be renting it for $25 to $28 if I want to.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't want that person here because, you know, I do want that person here, but you know, I trust her. She's good. She's always on. Like, she gives it.
The tenant's worth a lot.
Okay, so how much do you guys know about the cardinality of countable versus uncountable infinities?
What?
Okay. So anyway, let me explain it more easily. There's this thing, there's people that are asking me about what things going on in crypto right now. Let's just say that there's this thing called ordinals, which uses number wizardry to make more numbers out of a finite list of numbers. And using this, they are able to add things onto the Bitcoin blockchain that weren't previously there. And so that's going absolutely gangbusters. It's just they're going to the moon right now. It's actually stupid how fast these things are pumping. And I'm watching from a distance.
Is that like creating a reference to something else within the blockchain? I didn't quite follow that.
Yeah, basically. So yes, you've got it.
Okay.
From a high level perspective, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone wants us to get back to plays, so I don't know. Do we have any other plays? I like this Camping World play that you brought up, Blockstar. At first I was like, camping in this economy? But now the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, you know what? It's cheaper to go camping than it is to go to Disney World. It's cheaper to go camping than it is to do a lot of vacations, to be honest with you. And so maybe it's not as crazy of a play as I initially thought.
Yeah, it's called anecdotal evidence. It's tough to actually find camping spots. If you have a camper, the issues that people are running into is finding spots to rent.
Really?
They're all booked. Yeah, oh yeah. A lot of them are booked.
Yeah, good luck. They book. You gotta go like 6 months out, man.
Yep.
Fear. Get a spot.
Yeah, Decibel's got it, I think, that if we zoom out, we'll see we're too late. Because if we zoom out onto the hour chart, it's going to show the pump, this candle right here that happened after earnings. So maybe it is already priced in, right? I don't know, though.
If they have a 10% dividend, that's not bad to get in on the dividend and pop out,
Yeah. There are worse stocks to hold.
What's their track record of dividend increases? I mean, I haven't zoomed out on this chart enough to figure out if this is just rebounding off of a very long-term downtrend. But I mean, how has their support been for that kind of dividend over time? 10% is like kind of freaking huge.
Yeah, Rockstar, can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I will say that that they've progressively increased from what I would have for research when I did it before, because I did do research it quite a bit. Let's see here.
No, but I mean, like, did they just, like, on their earnings calls, like on their investor relations, are they saying, like, we're increasing the dividend, and they just say that over and over and over again, or are you speaking more anecdotally?
Yeah, let me come back to you here. I'm just gonna go and look at a little bit.
I'm looking through the dividend payments right now.
Okay.
Let's see. There was an increase from 2021 to 2022. There was an increase. It's been stable at that dividend since 2022. 1 second.
But that's a pretty good increase, right? That was like 25%.
Yeah, it was a substantial increase. It was 50 cents a share, down 62.5. Okay, so they increased in June as well from 25 cents to 50 cents. That's nuts. It's a 100% increase in dividends.
Right? Yeah. That goes
Now you got to
over.
wonder about their balance sheet, though, because I mean, trying to sustain that level of dividend.
It's the dividend payout ratio.
And they do monthlies too, right? So it's nice.
And they pay out monthly.
Or is it quarterlies? Is it quarterlies?
No,
If
it's
their
it's
dividend-
quarter. It's quarterly.
It's quarterly.
If the dividend payout ratio is above 75%, it's probably not sustainable.
Right.
Oh, right. I forgot we have that metric. Let's take a gander.
Back to 2020, yeah, because they had it down to 15. Holy shit, yeah, it was only 15 before 2020 there. All right. 17. They actually went up after in August 2020. They went to 17.
Whoa! Dividend payout ratio 111%. What does that even mean? What?
Is he right? Okay.
That can't be right. Am I?
Did you ask Bard?
Is it right? I did. I asked Big. It just made up a number, I think. That can't be right. Can dividend payout ratio be over 100%? Or is
they're paying out. Yeah, if they're paying out more per dividend, more per share than they're earning per share, then you're going to get a much higher payout ratio.
Oh, so wait, you're saying that Bing might not be hallucinating? That might actually be real. Holy shit! I think it is real. Look,
it's not sustainable.
No.
If it's
Look
that
at that.
high, it's not.
Look at that dividend payout ratio right here.
It's like they're trying to drain the coffers.
You guys see it?
Yeah. Just look up IEP for funsies.
Oh yeah, we know that one. Well,
IEP.
I do.
Oh no, on that same dividend payout ratio website.
Yeah.
If you just duplicate the tab.
I can't.
Yeah,
I
know
can't
that one.
Yeah. Puts. ICANN's about ready to get one of the largest margin calls in the history of margin from Chase Bank.
What was the guy that he was arguing with? What's the guy's
Ackman.
Yeah, he fucking that's Ackman. I will tell you that's the way he's getting him back for that whole thing with.
So supposedly they reconciled, but Ackman did throw a tiny little jab at him on Twitter after the Hindenburg report. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, although that's one of my favorite arguments I've ever watched on.
Oh yeah, the one on CNBC with Wapner. Yeah, that was great. I've watched that a couple of times.
Honestly, I was watching it live, and I'm like, I had to go.
Oh
back
shit,
and find it.
That's hilarious.
You know what's frustrating about like Ackman gets things wrong all the time, but he was like, Herbalife's a pyramid scheme, and it's eventually going to collapse. And the problem with this is he's right. It is a fucking pyramid scheme. However, what he doesn't realize is that pyramid schemes, until they collapse, are wildly profitable, right? Until they implode, right? Just look at them and other multi-level selling organizations.
Look at Amway.
Very suspicious.
Amway is a good example. How about
he backed that. Ackman backed Herbalife, didn't he?
No, he was short. He was trying to short it, I thought.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite.
No,
Icon
was backing Herbalife, and Ackman was calling it a pyramid scheme.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he gets a point there.
Well, let's put it this way: so there's the Pampered Chef too, and it's not quite a pyramid scheme, but okay. So Buffett owns that. He owns Kirby. Okay, so my buddy worked for that, right? It's not
Kirby,
but it's a pyramid scheme too, if you look at it, because the way that the guys work with it, it's the guys at the top to get paid. If you've got your underlings, right? Like my buddy sells Kirby's. He goes door to door. He's got his foot in your fucking door. He gets into your house. He won't get into my house, but he gets into your house. He puts his foot in the door, and if the husband's not home, he's in there. He's literally.
Oh yeah,
they
tag teamed me, and I said, "Hell no, you're not getting my social security number. You're not getting nothing." They left me one, and they never picked it up.
Nice job.
They changed that.
So you got tag teamed. They left you one, and they never came back for it. And are they paying child support?
No. So I sent a 3-day letter, registered. Come get this. I don't want it. And they had none of my information. They never came. They came 6 months later. I said, too bad. So sad.
Yeah, so bad. Yeah, those things, honestly, they're a good vacuum.
They are a good vacuum.
They're great vacuums. It's expensive to get the bags and stuff for it, but my buddy, he's my hookup, right? He'll just mail them to me, right? He just pulls them right out. Like he's one of their top guys. Like he was all over Boston. He's practically already done all of British Columbia and Alberta and Toronto.
Their franchise, the main company has nothing to do with all the little franchisees.
Well, it's Buffett at the end of the day. He owns the whole thing.
Well, but because I called, they said we have nothing to do with them. Their franchises, we don't back them.
They just sell the like your bags and stuff like that. I would assume.
I guess I don't know. But it is a good vacuum. But I got it for free.
I'm trying to sell my Disney bags every day, but it's not.
Tag team, an old lady. Just don't get me.
What?
Oh God, the analogies.
What was that stock that was 10%? I think they do cocaine on the side. 10% dividend.
Oh, Camping World. They're paying out 111%
motorhomes.
They can't.
The motorhomes.
Yeah.
Their competition is only like what's it called? Their Bass Pro, and he's kind of like he's the Bass Pro of the Camping World kind of stuff, right? Let's put it that way.
Dude, speaking about pyramid schemes, Bass Pro Shop, if you guys didn't know, owns one of the largest pyramids on Earth. Literally, the Bass Pro Shop down there.
What is it?
Here, I'll pull it up. The Memphis Pyramid. It's right here. This is a Bass Pro Shop. And it's one of the largest pyramids on Earth, and there's a Bass Pro Shop in it. It's the 9th largest pyramid on Earth, and there's a Bass Pro Shop.
It's not a pyramid scheme.
No, it's not a pyramid scheme. But you're talking about pyramids that we talked about Bass Pro.
Yeah. I got you.
My head
just built by the same guys that built the Luxor.
No. I don't think so. Maybe, I don't know. Luxor is huge though. It doesn't have the giant light on top. I always stay at the Luxor when I go to Vegas. I like that kind of old Vegas feel where the carpet just sort of smells of stale cigarettes. Mm-hmm. And
1 hour room rentals.
No, not like that. I'm just saying I like that old Vegas feel where it's a little bit.
That's an old Vegas feel.
Well, you got to go down to Fremont then. You want the real?
Yeah.
Fremont.
Yeah. Golden Nugget, all this, yeah.
Oh yeah. They actually just gave me a good deal for the Golden Nugget. They just sent me a thing, a free. What is that? Resort fees. But because I didn't want to pay it anyways. But yeah.
Wait, resort fees for the Golden Nugget?
Oh yeah, dude. They've handled.
It's like an oxymoron.
Boyd and or whatever his name is, Dallas or whatever. He owns the guy that owns all the restaurants and stuff. He owns the Golden Nugget. He owns like Rainforest Cafe and all those kind of places.
First time I went to Vegas, I was like 16 years old, and I was like, "There's nothing for me to do here," and I was at the Stardust, which eventually got torn down. Right, the Stardust isn't there anymore. But my dad handed me this martini, and he's like, "Take this, and you can go onto the casino floor." And I was like, "Great!" So then I walk onto the casino floor, and I just start gambling at the slot machine, and nobody stops me because I have a drink in my hand, and I got trip aces, and got this like big payout just playing slots. Anyway, you can't do that anymore. That kind of old Vegas doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that place doesn't exist, and neither does anything on that block. I don't even know if they finished doing the second project that they were going to do, because the first project got canceled.
They tore it all down. You know what stuns me that's still there is Circus. What a dumb idea. Who even owns it? Let's buy puts on whoever owns Circus.
I know.
This is the stupidest idea.
Caesars or MGM.
It's one of the two. Let's look him up. Who
Hey,
thought,
can I ask
like,
you a question while you're looking that up?
yeah, what's up?
What do you think NVIDIA is going to report?
I don't know. It's got to go down though. Like it just keeps
It's
hitting these
got
all-time
to.
highs. Yeah,
I mean-
eventually it's going to come back down to earth.
When it went through that metaverse stage, didn't it report good earnings?
Well, I tell you what, guys. Like, if you like Nvidia, go ahead and buy a bunch of ARM when they IPO. They decided to list on the Nasdaq instead of the London Stock Exchange, and that's coming either this year or next year. ARM Holdings. That is a fantastic chip designer, on par with Nvidia, I think. And at some point, people are going to rebel against Nvidia's, supposed dominance over AI, and you're going to have people looking at ARM for help with compute.
They don't have like a patent or infringement.
ARM has fuck tons of patents.
Oh no.
No.
NVIDIA
NVIDIA on their quantum. Do they have like a super tight patent or something?
NVIDIA has ridiculously good patents around generative AI and AI in general. As for quantum computing, I don't know, but I can speak to their patent portfolio on AI, and it is strong.
Well, because don't you need quantum for the AI?
No, you don't need quantum computing to do AI.
They have the
How?
good for AI.
You don't need. You're just it's just matrix multiplication, right? That's what AI is.
You seeing this? There, it's called Phil Ruffin bought it from MGM.
Yeah, I saw that. Some dude bought Circus from MGM. MGM probably was like, man, the fact that we're able to sell this property for $800 million is a blessing, right?
Dude, he owns Treasure Island, New Frontier Casino. He owns Trump Tower, Wichita Greyhound Park, and some convenience stores and lodging. What has he got? He's got Marriott Hotels, Fairfield. The guy's 88 years old.
What is ARM? What is ARM float? ARM floating on New York Stock Exchange instead of London is big news here. What is floating on the New York Stock Exchange?
So ARM's based out of the UK, and that was going to be one of the biggest IPOs of very recent or probably future in the UK, but they decided to list in America instead.
Oh wow!
It's like probably like the crown jewel of European technology generally, much less the UK.
This Ruffin guy is crazy.
Yeah,
He
his
owns-
story.
He owns Win, MGM, like he owns shares in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty smart. Cookie looks like he really likes gambling. He's from Washburn University.
Well, I was doing my CEs yesterday on AI and reading OVA and parasites. They've been working on this for 20 years. It's not fast.
Oh yeah, AI had a long period of. I mean, if you go back, there were these things called expert machines. Everyone thinks AI is all new and stuff. There was this stuff called an expert machine. You gotta look at these things.
I mean, maybe it'll type your term paper, but scientific training is real
It goes
difficult.
back even further than 20 years. When Steve Jobs left Apple and he founded a company called Next Computers, one of the little demos that they had on the Next computer was a penguin that was trying to balance a cane in its hand. And after a certain amount of time, it would learn how to balance it for longer and longer periods of time. And it was AI based.
Yeah. There's these expert systems from the 1980s. This is some of the original AI.
Yeah, we
And thi-
started it in the 80s in the lab to read slides. Never worked.
And this ended up not working. This led to AI winter, where in the 90s there just wasn't a lot of research in it. And then now AI is once again, look at NVIDIA go. It's back to being in ascendancy.
Berkshire owns Fruit of the Loom too. I'm just looking through all the shit they own. I always forget, but they own Dairy Queen too. My buddy owns a Dairy Queen, and he gets invited to those meetings all the time, even if he doesn't own shares, because he basically owns shares because he owns one of them.
Let's look at the minute candle on NVIDIA.
You can't go wrong with an ice cream shop. Those are cash cows.
Dude, it's unbelievable. Hand over fist.
I know.
You can't keep
Oh,
up with
yeah.
it. Like what he's fixing most of the time is the lines for the ice cream machines, and he goes, "That's the impossible thing because he doesn't buy them straight from them."
Oh, look at Rocket Lab. It pumpa. Rocket Lab. RKLB. Good call out, Josh. What's going on with Rocket Lab? Is there news? Let's take a look. Looks like there is. They've set a date for the second launch in the tropics. Why is it pumping today? Oh, just an announcement of the launch schedule. Good call, Josh.
Yeah, looks like it's could do a good bump here. I mean, looking at the 1 year on it, you know, their lows like what 390, 377 or so around there.
So I guess the question is Coin suggesting a move in Bitcoin? Let's see. No. But a great question.
I was looking at like Malibu boats stuff because, like, you know, up here in Canada, you couldn't get a boat. There's still a waiting list for them up here. I wouldn't doubt it if there was one down there as well. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said that their dad just sold the boat that they had, sold it for more to somebody from Canada, for way more, and then they bought their new boat in Canada for 30% discount.
This is the way.
Oversold. Anyways, I'm just saying about boats because people like boating up here a lot. I mean, I'm sure that people like it all over the place, but you know, the struggles with, you know, getting parts and stuff like that from China, wherever the hell they were ordering them from, it was slow. I mean, that might be an okay question actually, even though he doesn't maybe deal with boats, but you know.
Look at Rego. 40 cents a piece.
Re
12% up.
Holding 20,000 shares.
You've been filing it. You've been following that a while, haven't you?
You're holding 20,000 shares?
So am I. We're trying to outdo each other.
Oh my god.
You've been holding that a while though, right?
So it first came up that we found out about the stock in January. The head admin ZJZ was testing a new chart system, and he typed in the word "re," and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that was an actual company." And then we started looking at it, and we're like, "Oh, there might be a value play here. They seem to have like no debt and some good things coming out soon." So it was just going down. Like it was around like 50 cents when we first discovered it, and we bought like a couple hundred shares as a joke, and then kept going down. Then when it hit like under 30 cents not long ago, I just kept buying like huge amounts of shares. So I have 20,000 now, and a couple other people, or one other user has 42,069, 420.69. So he has the most out of all of us.
What's the float on that?
I like how many shares outstanding?
Yeah.
I can check right now.
Hey, here's a symbol for you. It's called. It's gonna be an interesting little dive if we do go on it. IE. Ivanhoe Electric.
What?
Yeah, I know.
They have 328,275 million shares outstanding. And then 26% is institutional ownership.
Yeah, it doesn't have a high short.
No, actually, if you look at the hedge fund institutional ownership, there's hedge funds buying it, not shorting it. So that even Ken Griffin from Citadel Capital owns, I forget how many shares, but that's kind of interesting to know.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Hellman.
You should ask Rad about this stock, Lockstart. I'm not going to be able to give you too much.
That's okay. That's I'm not, and I just it's worth a dive. I mean, these guys are out of Vancouver too.
They're like a mining stock. We should ask Rad next time we see him on here.
They're kind of like they're going in. They're diving into doing these power systems, kind of like Elon's doing. You know, like the self-contained kit. They got an interesting little portfolio. They've kind of diversified because they changed from, they used to be just Ivanhoe, I think, Energy before, and then now they're Ivanhoe Electric.
Wow, all the space stocks are pumping. Look at space. It's up quite a generous amount.
Why?
Tesla had another successful launch of a civilian mission to space. So it's a second all civilian launch to space. That was I think last night or this morning, and it was successful. So they're up there now. And,
okay.
So mankind's venture into space continues.
I know. I just got back.
Let's look at C3 AI. Here we go.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I know, it was fun.
That's on the minute chart. Well, let's look at like 5 minutes. Okay, let's look at C3 AI on like the daily chart. There we go.
10%.
Yeah, Lockstar, you just put electric in the name and your stock will double overnight.
Right? I mean, or if you're based out of Vancouver, they'll pump it for you anyways.
Electricity is the new AI. Wait, what?
So like Wendy's Electric?
Wendy's Electric. Using wind power to make Frosties.
Out in the mountain.
Well, you can see when C3 AI started to pump. Everybody was sleeping on AI, and then it went. And then it posted this giant spinning top doji. And then it went down. GameStop's going to the moon.
On what time frame?
Yeah, watch me pull up the GameStop site and be up like 0.5% today or something.
What was the doji on the time frame on AI?
Oh, that was on the daily chart. That was on
Okay.
the day.
Thank
Oh,
Up
GME
5%
is
today.
actually up a little bit today. That's surprising. Okay.
What? They got the. I'm looking at this Ivanhoe Electric. I haven't looked at the site in a while. They've got quite made it look a hell of a lot better and more detail into what they're doing. Immerse power of Typhoon trademark technology that they do. Honestly, I think you should go and take a dive on this one. I put the site up just to go take a look at. It's actually very nice and well set up.
I appreciate it, but I'm driving at the moment. I'll take a look at it later on this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this Ivanhoe stuff later.
Gotta pay attention to the main one right now. The market. I want to buy one of these VRV things. I need one at the cabin.